one thing that we have that's different than like Aspen or South Beach, you know,
Right.
and these other things that people go to these wine fests or know about them, is that everything's local.
Welcome to The Conversation, brought to you by TVC Cherry Capital Airport, your Northern Michigan connection. I'm your host, Christal Frost. If you've spent any time in Northern Michigan, you already know that food and wine are part of what makes this region so special. From award-winning wineries and talented chefs to local farms, orchards, and craft beverage makers, this area has quietly become one of the country's premier culinary destinations. And today we're talking about one of the biggest celebrations of all of that, and that is the Traverse City Food and Wine Festival, returning August 19th through the 23rd. And joining me today is Mickey Graham, Director of Sports and Events for Traverse City Tourism. Mickey, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
It's so great to have you here.
Yeah.
I have to talk a little bit about how this started. The Food and Wine Festival is still pretty new. I mean, only one season. And that's, something compared to, say, the National Cherry Festival that just celebrated 100 years. What inspired you at Traverse City Tourism to create, kind of an entirely new signature event?
Well, there's a couple different things, right? Like you'd mentioned, first of all, how lucky we are to be here, right? All the restaurants and all the wineries and the farms, just at the farmer's market today, it's just, everything is just so great about the summer and the culinary experience that people have here. And so one of the things, we were looking at is what can we do to kind of showcase this, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't want to do, the typical, hey, it's a wine fest, come on down, it's 4 hours, just have at it, right?
Right.
Not that thing. We want, because that's not really what's going on here. The quality that people are producing now, like with all the great restaurants and wineries, and the wineries have been around for 25, 30 years, and they're really starting to produce some award-winning wine. So we're like, how do we really make this a reflection of what's happening?
Right.
And so we started looking around for, at other events, and we started modeling ourselves after some of the bigger ones around the world. And we're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And one of the things that we really noticed once we started putting this together was the one thing that we have that's different than like Aspen or South Beach,
Right.
and these other things that people go to these wine fests or know about them, is that everything's local.
Yeah.
And the farms are here. So if you're out and you had a dinner and the chefs are using local ingredients, you just go right down the farm.
Yeah.
And, you can go pick yourself if you want, or go to the farm store and you get the same things that they're using. So it's really interesting that when you think about that and how it all comes together as a confluence to this thing. And so we really like that concept. And then we're looking at the time of year for this too. And a couple of big things there. Can't do it in winter.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But then you have the harvest towards the end of August, and it kind of coincides with, an opening in the schedule of events in town, everything like that. So it makes perfect sense for us to try to do something right before Labor Day. Schools back, schools get back in session. So that's why it works out in August so well too.
It was so well received last year. I mean, for an inaugural event, you had a lot of the offerings that were sold out. I mean, the grand tasting was really well attended. Let me ask you, what surprised you about that? Did you think that it was going to be the smash hit that it was right out the gate?
Well, of course.
That was all part of my plan. Yeah.
So that's how we organized it. You're never quite sure, right? But we thought we had a really good idea and a good concept. And so we anticipated it being there, but you can't always count on that, right? You don't really know what you're going to get until you start to see it. But the partners in town have just been great. And so what we concentrate on Traverse City Tourism is the bigger events that are at the open space, the grand tasting, and when Tyler Florence was here last year, his events down there and the demonstrations. And then the restaurant and wineries and the farms in the area also work and organize their own events, and they're really creative and they come up with their own things. And so it's all kind of works together.
Nice.
Traverse City Food and Wine is the main website for this, and what the week is called, and that's where all the tickets are. But a lot of those events, we're not coordinating as Traverse City Tourism. Our restaurants own our Bryce Estates or Black Star Farms. Those guys are doing it, which works out great.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it gives you that wide range of events,
right?
And it's all in one place, and it kind of disperses the workload for us.
Yeah, and I mean, let you guys focus on the high impact events, which is what you're actually really good at,
Yeah,
you know, and then give that ownership over to your partners too, but give them the backing of Traverse City tourism. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And, we don't know what they're really good at, right?
Yeah.
And they know their chefs, they know their restaurants, they know their wineries. So that's why we let those guys do that. And they've been really great to come up with those fantastic ideas and really creative things that people love.
What do you think you learned from last year that you're taking in that lesson into this year?
Great question. I think the biggest thing is, that there is that need in town, so to speak, and that people want to be part of this. And last year we were open to it, and we were trying to get as many partners as we could. And this year it just seems to be there's more. So we're trying to manage that a little bit better on our end because there was a lot. I mean, there's if you look at that website, there's almost 90 events on there. And so trying to manage all those things and work together and work across, it can be a bit of a challenge, as you may understand. But trying to just figure out, you do an event in the first year, you're just drinking from a fire hose, right? And so you figure out after that, you're like, how can we be more efficient here? What worked there and what didn't work, and you just kind of massage it as you go and make things a little bit different, a little bit better.
I have to say, and I know we're not necessarily talking about the International Fireworks Championship, but they're very close together. You have the Traverse City Food and Wine Festival, that event happening, and then just a few weeks later, you have another very high impact event happening. How do you make sure that you and your team of volunteers and staff can, handle these back-to-back high-impact events? I mean, do you give everybody a massage? Like, how do you keep them coming back?
Well, we got great staff down there, first of all, and and it's kind of almost like divide and conquer. So Whitney War, our COO, really is kind of like the visionary for Traverse City Food and Wine. She makes everything run, makes it look pretty, makes everything look great, right, and that sort of thing. And I kind of do more of the back end operations piece, and then I just then fireworks I kind of do a lot more of the front of house type stuff. So it works out well as far as that standpoint goes. But our staff really does great, from selling tickets to the marketing to the websites and all that stuff. So we're lucky to have a really great staff that loves these things and is excited about helping out with them.
Obviously for this to be, a tourism-led event, you are marketing this to tourists. You're trying to bring people in. You need to, fill the hotel rooms. But there are so many local people who go to this. And I think that sometimes people are surprised at how, this really feels more like a locals event. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. And especially for food and wine, you look at the analytics from last year where people were coming from and all the tickets, and it's almost a 50-50 split from what we can consider in market for locals and then out of market people too. And so for food and wine, I think we had 33 states represented last year.
Okay.
But again, those are people coming from flying in, which we love, but it is a locals event.
Yeah.
If you look at really the down and dirty of it, it's about half and half. And then if you go to the Grand Tasting, which is a large event downtown, there's 1,000, 1,500 people there, you're going to run into somebody for sure.
A ton of people I went last year and I was like, gosh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and we like that. And that's kind of the events that we're looking to put on is not something just for someone from Ohio to come up or Indiana, but something that locals are really going to embrace and enjoy.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with the Fireworks Championship. It's the same thing where you're going to see your neighbors are there, but also you have people coming in from out of town. It's great. Yeah,
and that's what's great about living here. We love events in this town. Look at Cherry Festival and how great that does every year, and Ice Fan and all these other things. It's a town that really likes their events.
It is an event town. When I think about, Michigan wine, it's so interesting to me because as you said at the top of the show, we have these vineyards that are, award-winning wines now. And I still think, though, that there is some level of lack of understanding that people are still surprised at just how respected our wines have become. Do you think that perception has started to change over the past few decades? Because I've been here my whole life and I'm going, people still are surprised at how good our wine is.
Yeah, I definitely think it's changing. Not that long ago, you think about Michigan wine, you're like, is it cherry wine?
Yeah, everything was
Is
cherry
it,
wine,
yeah,
right?
is
And
it
you're like, no, it's not.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. These people, I mean, like we mentioned before, they're going on their second generation
Yes.
on these winery owners. And so all the knowledge that those people have accumulated over the years and all the things that they've learned to do to make these high quality wines. Yeah. It's definitely changed. And when you see the awards that they win, they win in Australia, they win in awards in, events in California and Colorado, and Michigan wines have really become a thing and really well known. And, if you look at some people like Susan Kostrava, who's from Traverse City, she's a sommelier and she's helped with an ALSA with this. She raves about Michigan wines and how they compare with wines not only from across the country, but from across the world.
Yeah.
So it's really gone well. And what they have learned to do and the quality of wines that they're putting out now is just, it's incredible.
Yeah, that is, I mean, what a great way to showcase that too with this event. I want to get back to you talking about Traverse City being uniquely positioned to host an event like this. Aspen, South Beach, some of those other areas you mentioned, we really are at the intersection of agriculture and tourism. Like we really are. And, so you can go down the road and grab that apple that you just had at a world famous restaurant, How important is supporting local farmers and the producers to the overall mission of the festival?
What's the backbone? And nothing happens without those organizations and those people. And as we look to and everything we do with that festival, like when we have the chefs coming in, we say, local, get local, get local, get local. And so we try our best to do, source everything locally here. And I know there's a lot of restaurants in town that do their best to source everything locally here too, because the ingredients are so much better.
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
I mean, it's a quality piece, first of all, but then to support those folks that work so hard and making the agriculture scene in this area, as vibrant as it is. That's what our main focus is really to try to help those people out, show what they're doing, and support them as much as possible.
It feels like Traverse City was farm to table before that was cool.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah,
it really does. I think people sometimes forget how much goes into creating experiences like this. And you mentioned Whitney and in her vision of making things, pretty, and you're out there kind of making that happen. How many partners are involved behind the scenes? Like how many restaurants, how many wineries, how many volunteers, how many sponsors? Like this is kind of a small army, right?
Yeah, it's a small army for sure. I mean, even I think there's probably, I want to say 35 different locations in town that are doing things. I mean, and a lot of them are doing multiple events, right? Then we have the restaurants and wineries, all those folks. Our staff is working hard in this, then the volunteers. So I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of people that are pitching in for this over the week.
Effort.
Yeah, and that's what we love about it too, is that it is such a community effort. But yeah, when you talk about the backbone and how this all works and everything how it all operates together, yeah, it's hundreds. It's hundreds. But the great thing is, like when you go to these events, like you go to the grand tasting or whatever like that, you don't recognize that, and hopefully you don't necessarily recognize that because we don't want people to see kind of like all the back end stuff that goes on crazy.
You don't want people to feel the stress,
right? And you want stress. So we work with a group called Boardman Hospitality, John Hardy and his family, and they do all the cooking at the open space. They do all the cooking for the grand tasting or the Cherry Festival stuff too, for the concerts and everything like that. Holy smokes. That guy's got an army, and they work nonstop. And so it's just people like that really contribute to this whole thing that make it work well.
Well, let's talk about what people can actually experience this year. You mentioned like 35 different locations. I mean, there are so many events happening throughout the week, not just the big tasting. Can you just kind of walk us through some of those highlights? Yeah.
I think if we first look at, like, we talk about community, what we want, there's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at the open space. There's demonstrations or in the morning, and they're free for kids. 1,700 can go there, and it's a low-cost ticket for those folks to go see chefs up on stage. And one day was actually going to be kids doing cooking demonstrations and stuff. So there's a lot of cool things like that. But then you go all the way up to other things like the James Beard Foundation.
I mean, my goodness.
Which is, it's lack of better term, like the Emmys and Oscars of the cooking world. It really
is the Oscars of cooking. Yes.
And so we're doing a foundation dinner on Wednesday night at the open space, and it's all the local James Beard Foundation restaurant recognition people. So Modern Bird, Troy Stella, Cook's House, Artisan. All these folks are going to be down there cooking. Plus, we got chefs coming in from like Detroit that are James Beard recognized people. So that's a big event that's going to be down there. It's going to
be like the red carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out the open space. How cool is that, right?
That's so cool.
Water is your background. You're going to be eating out in this big tent. That's a great one. We've got another highlighted one is it's a sparkling wine celebration called Bubbles by the Bay on Thursday night downtown at the open space. We're working with the National Writer Series on a couple events, and we're so fortunate to have this one come in. A lady named Ruth Reichel.
Yes.
She was the editor of Gourmet magazine for like decades and decades. So we're fortunate to have her come in with the National Writer Series, and she's going to be doing conversation.
Oh, cool.
Downtown. And then, of course, you got the Grand Tasting, which is the big event. 25 wineries, a couple dozen restaurants, cooking demonstrations all day long, and so that's the main focus one. I shouldn't say main focus. That's the biggest one, the anchor of the whole week. But it's really something for everybody, really, and that's why I was kind of highlighting some of those other things. So if you just want to come down and see a cooking demonstration on some like world class chefs, you got it, right? You want this great meal cooked by a dozen different world-class chefs, you got that too.
Yeah. There's something for everyone. I love that. And I love watching people cook. I'm not a cook. I mean, I can do it.
Mac and cheese.
Like, I'm okay. I can make things happen.
Pickles out of a jar. Is that what you get?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't enjoy it. But what I do love is watching, like I'll watch the Food Network and I'll watch people cooking. I find it super relaxing. Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm not the one cooking.
It is super relaxing. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. I am not a cook.
No.
I've tried and it just bums me out that I can't do it.
I know. And I've taken classes. With Chef Les at NMC, like where I'm trying to find my joy in cooking. But I just like eating. And so there's something, I appreciate a good chef. I will eat your food. I'm not really the one but I watched some of those demonstrations last year. I found it so unbelievably relaxing, fun. And I was like, even though I'm not the cook, I'm not there like my brother-in-law, Ben, who's making notes because he's a cook, you know. But I'm there going, oh, this is really fun and entertaining. So it really is for everyone.
It is. Yeah, I enjoy watching them too. It's a relaxing thing and the visions that they have is incredible. Yeah. How they can take this ingredient, that ingredient. So we did an event last year at the farmer's market and we had a couple of chefs that we did a quick little pop-up thing. And they went around and they just went to the farmer's market and grabbed a bunch of ingredients. They didn't have like a plan.
That's amazing.
And they just walked around and 20 minutes later, they're cooking up food for everyone at the farmer's market. And it's the most amazing thing you've had.
That is so
It's
cool.
Incredible how the vision these people have and how they can see stuff and how they it all works together, all the tastes work together. And, I can't do it.
So I'm here with Kevin Klein, who is the executive director of TVC Cherry Capital Airport. And Kevin, people love to travel, but not everybody is very good at traveling. I'm sorry to say it, but what are some of your travel tips from Kevin's Corner?
Plan on being early.
Yeah.
Plan coming 2 hours early. We've got lots of great things to do for you. But the reason you want to plan to come in early is if you're checking bags, the bag cutoffs for most airlines are 45 minutes prior to departure. Each airline has different policies, so check that with your airline. But being there through the line to make sure your bag is back and being screened 45 minutes before departure, you have to plan for that. You can't come just at 45 minutes prior to. So you check in plenty of time early, and then I always say, bring your patience.
Yeah, preparation, planning, patience. Just a few travel tips with Kevin Klein. Now, how can people find you?
They can find us at tvcairport.com.
I've talked to a number of chefs in this town because I do have such an appreciation for that artistry, and they all get along. How does that to me seems so strange. And I don't know if that's just because you feel like it's a competition in the world of restaurants. I mean, restaurants is a cutthroat industry. I mean, it's really difficult to run a very a profitable restaurant in general. This is a really difficult business. But here in this area, and I would even say some of the visiting chefs that come, you have guest chefs at Amicale and people, they all support each other. Do you see that on a day like the Grand Tasting? Do you see this happening, during the week with this event where it's just sort of almost like surprising.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
they're not in competition, but they are,
It's cooperation, competition, whatever that term is there. But I think, they all get along, and they all work hard, not only to make their restaurants successful. I mean, to work in a restaurant, we all know it's like 14, 15, 16-hour days every day.
Yep.
There's no breaks, right? So we know how difficult it is to run a restaurant. But then to help make this event a success, it adds on to that, right? It adds on to that workload, and they've been great.
Yeah.
They all work together. Like like I mentioned, the James Beard Foundation dinner, where they're all coming together to put on this amazing dinner. At the VIP area for the grand tasting, 4 or 5 of those restaurants, again, are coming in, all those high-end restaurants, James Beard recognized restaurants are coming in to do food for the VIP area. So they're all working together for this. And when you get them in a room, you can kind of see that they have respect for each other because they know what it takes.
They do.
And if somebody else is working as hard as they are and, shows their talent, shows their love and their passion for creating great food, I think they respect that.
There is something. I worked in restaurants when I was younger. I mean, first of all, I think everyone should work in a restaurant. I think that gives you an appreciation for hospitality.
100%. Yeah.
I think everyone should do dishes in a kitchen, and everyone should try to be a busser or wait tables at some point in their life, because you learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about how to be a good human to people who are in those industries.
And you learn how to overtip, which is another thing.
And then you learn to be a good tipper, which is a good thing. But I've always thought that people who live in restaurants like that, people who love that, the people who are the chefs, the people who are the supporting staff, front of house, back of house, whatever it is, it's a different breed, because they're all working when we're all celebrating. It's like that, they're working holidays, they're working nights, they're working weekends, and I just have so much respect for that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. My first job was washing dishes.
Yeah.
I was 15 years old in the back of a kitchen, right? And graduated to being a line cook and busboy and waiter and bartender, others, all the things too. And I think the education you get from that is it sets you up for being, like you mentioned, a good person the rest of your life.
You're going to be a better person.
You are.
You really are.
You want to deal with people. This is the best way to learn how to deal with people, and you learn how to treat people and everything else. So I think that helps a lot with these restaurants, because they've dealt with everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it gives them the patience and the understanding when they're working with other people. This is how you got to do it. But I'm with you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be mandatory.
It should be mandatory. Everyone should do it. You have to do it. You have to work in a restaurant.
And then learn to be 20% tipper.
Exactly. At least, You mentioned the VIP experience. That's something that people can take part in. I also want to mention too that there's, local wineries, of course. It is Traverse City Food and Wine, but there's local distilleries. There's craft beer that's going to be there. Is that right?
Yeah, at the grand tasting. Last year we didn't have spirits, but this year we're going to have spirits, and we got beer. There's 3 different breweries that are taking part this year too. So there's all different sorts of a variety for people. We got non-alcoholic event or drinks for people too. So it's not just it's that, and it's noon to 4. The idea of it isn't to come down and go ape
nuts,
right on this whole thing. The idea is to savor, sample, taste. So when you go get your taste of wine, you just take a taste if you want, and because you're going to have 100 different options, more than 100 different options to choose from. So this is a great place to go. Try different things you may not normally try. Find out what you like, what you don't like. Yeah. Talk to the wineries. Talk to the people that are making this stuff. They're there. Ask them questions. Find out how they do it all.
Yeah.
And so it's a great place to get the education. Find out what you like, and then you can take it back and go, hey, I like this wine. I'm going to start trying this one. I'm going to start drinking that one.
And I'm going to go buy a bottle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go visit that that winery. That's going to be something that I do.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of thing that people should buy tickets for now? Do you anticipate selling out?
Well, we always recommend buying them now, right? Of course.
Buy them right now.
But in particular, for any of those other, the grand tasting is our biggest one, and we're hoping to get right around 2,000 people for that.
Wow.
So if you want to get them now, go for it, especially if you want the VIP or the early entry tickets, because those are ones that are limited. But in particular, if you're looking at these restaurant events or a winery event or the Bubbles by the Bay or whatever these other ones out the open space, those are very limited tickets.
Okay. Okay.
Very limited.
So get your tickets for those.
And even now, if you go to the website, you'll see a lot of them, only like 10 left or only like 12 left, because for those events, you want to do more intimate pieces so that those ticket numbers are smaller.
Yeah, very important. I have to ask a little bit about, you've been involved in events for basically your whole, adult career, right? Like you really must love this. I mean, you are involved in hospitality. You were with the Whitecaps, you were with the Pit Spitters, and now you're with Traverse City Tourism. Is there something really deep within you that just loves making, watching people have fun? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, you don't get to have fun at the event.
No, you don't get to.
that's a juxtaposition of what it is. But no, it's exciting to me to work on something and think about it, and think about all the different aspects of it, and then you make it work to come together, right? And to see smiles on people's faces as they enjoy an event or a baseball game or whatever it is that you're working on, to me, that's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know it may be weird to some people to hear that, but to me, that's fulfilling. I'd rather do that than some of these other jobs in the world. And it's just something that I kind of stumbled into right out of college, and I've really enjoyed it since, and made it go since.
It was a pretty good stumble. And you made it from Grand Rapids to Traverse City, and you've now been working with TC Tourism for a few years now. Are you always looking for new events to think about? I mean, I know, having talked to Trevor and some of the other folks over at TC Tourism, the shoulder seasons are always important, trying to get something in the winter. Tourism doesn't stop just because the sun starts to set at 5 p.m. Are you constantly dreaming up new events?
I wouldn't say constantly dreaming up new events because, like you mentioned, there's these two large ones we got pretty close together, but we're always looking, right? I've got a couple general ideas in the back of the mind. How do we pull these things off? But we're also, when I started there, our goal was to help people, event producers,
right?
Get them going. How can we support those people? But unfortunately, in my time frame that I started there, film festival decided to go and those other things. So we pivoted and we started producing our own events because that's, as we mentioned earlier, this town loves an event, and it's good for everybody if you have quality events in there. So we're always looking, not only for things that we can do, but what other events are out there? How can we support, whether it's Fresh Coast Film Festival or Traverse City Comedy Festival? How if these other people want to throw on these events, which we support, how can we support them make these things successful?
So, okay, I think that's wonderful. It's just the same thing with the Traverse City Food and Wine event, that you're kind of focused on those high impact events, but you're supporting the smaller events that are hosted by the restaurants and the wineries and things like that. It's the same kind of philosophy. Also have an idea, which you can just say yes to it right now.
All right.
I would like to do a Groundhog Day race, but once people get around their second lap, it starts over.
What starts over?
The race, because you forget it's Groundhog Day.
The whole timing starts again and everything. I got it now.
So the band comes back out. You fire the gun again. You start the race again. And by the third time people go around these laps, they're going, okay, I get it.
Man.
It's Groundhog Day.
I'm in.
You're in? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
There you go. I love it.
Get going.
So before we let you go, I have to ask, I have a little thing I like to do with lightning round and just a few fun questions. What is your favorite Northern Michigan wine? I know that's a hard question to answer, but...
Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot here because...
TC Food and Wine. Yeah. Are you a red wine guy, a white wine guy, sparkling?
I like the reds.
Red wines.
I like the reds. I like the Cabs, the Merlots.
Yeah.
Those are the types of wines I tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, I'm a Merlot. I'm actually a Pinot Noir person.
Oh yeah, Pinot's great.
My husband's a Cab guy, and that's just where he is.
Yeah, so everyone's got different taste buds, and that's why there's a variety. Yeah.
Is there a local dish that is kind of your go-to? Do you love a whitefish or anything like that?
Yeah, I like the fish, and this is I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. I love a good UNI gyro.
Yes. UNI gyros are the best.
I know we're talking about all this great food everywhere, and I do love going to, Stella and these nice restaurants, but man.
Oh, gosh. Sometimes, so that's a destination for me. If I have a craving for a gyro, I'm like, okay, I'm just going down there. Where's your favorite place to watch a sunset here?
Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Lighthouse.
Yep. That's a good one. If someone could only attend one event for TC Food and Wine, which one should it be?
Grand tasting.
Absolutely.
Just because of the variety
Yeah.
you'll get. And you're on the water drinking wine. How can you go wrong with that?
It's a very difficult question for people in Traverse City, but apple pie or cherry pie?
Cherry.
Good answer. I don't like warm
It was quick,
apples.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't even thought on that
I
one.
just don't feel like warm apples should exist. Only cold apples.
All right. Okay. That's quite the stance you're
Yes,
you're
that's
taking
my
there.
hot take on warm. I just don't like them.
And you start selling bumper stickers.
What is one event every year that happens, whether it's TC tourism related or not, that you can't wait for that happens in northern Michigan?
I like the Iceman.
The Iceman.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah.
What those guys do out there
Yeah.
and the joy they have with it's 30 degrees, it's slush, there's mud everywhere, and they're enjoying every second.
They are, yeah. I have to say, I love the Iceman too. I do not participate, but I will often volunteer. I like to be out there and watching people do the hard work.
Yeah.
But there is something really cool about that. The other one that I really love is the Turkey Trot.
Oh yeah.
That is such a cool event in that like everybody's gonna go stuff their faces in a few hours, but they all come out and they come out as families and they dress up.
And their costumes are great. Yeah.
They're great costumes. I know. I love it. That is so great. Okay, complete this sentence, Mickey. Traverse City tastes like.
Wow. Holy smokes.
You don't know.
Did you have some help with these questions? That is crazy.
Traverse City tastes like.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, heaven is way too cheesy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, but it's not far away from that, right?
Warm apple pie.
Wait.
Sure, go there.
You can say warm apple pie. There you go.
No, I don't know exactly what to say there.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think it tastes like a hot fudge sundae.
Oh, that's great. Ice creams.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Wonderful ice cream.
See, can I steal your answer?
Are you going to have any ice cream at the grand tasting?
Yeah, Moomers.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah,
then
they
I'm
were there
going.
last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, you got to have dessert.
You have to. I love it. Well, Mickey, I know that these tickets are available right now. The best way to get them is tickets.traversecityfoodandwine.com. You can find out all the information about all the other events, including those private events, the VIP events, the grand tasting. And as Mickey said, if you can only get to one, get to the grand tasting. It's kind of going to be the, sort of the signature event for the whole deal. I love that. And, it's happening from August 19th through the 23rd with experiences throughout the week. The grand tasting is taking place on Saturday, August 22nd at the open space. And if you'd like to see the full schedule, as I said, or purchase tickets, visit the festival website, tickets.traversecityfoodandwine.com. Traverse City Food and Wine, Mickey Graham from Traverse City Tourism. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for joining us for the conversation, my friends. It's brought to you by TVC Cherry Capital Airport, your Northern Michigan connection. I'm Christal Frost, and we'll see you next time.